Hello and welcome to our live stream. I see there's loads of you already in the chat. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are new here, my name is Emma. We do these live streams every week and we talk about cruise ships. If you have any cruise ship questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I will do my best to answer as many of them as I can. If you can start your question, just like a couple of people have already mentioned it. I saw this one from Lou. If you can start your question with question in capital letters, it makes it so much easier for me to see what is a comment. I'm reading the things as I'm speaking, so it's a bit tricky to kind of pick out the next questions. And if you want to put answer at the front, that's different, but that does work. Thank you, Lou, for that one. We've got so many questions in here already. I was having a quick look before the live stream. Let's just jump straight into a question. Let's find the first one we can. Okay. Oh, hello. Loads of you. Thomas, Martin, Tim. Tim asked a good question. He said, did you go on any of the Old Thompson ships? So I didn't. I've collected all of the modern Morella fleets. They've got 4 ships at the moment. I've done all of those, but I never did the older ones. Paul and Carol are in the chat. They did some of the older Morella ships. And everything I know really comes from Paul and Carol. So I see Paul and Carol are in here. They have videos about those on their channel. So check those out if you want to know more. But no, I think there's a big gap between those older Morella ships and their newer ones that were Celebrity and were Royal Caribbean ships. And I think you can tell. The new ones are very, very nice. Very, very nice. Anna says your hair is growing back so quickly. It might feel like that to you guys. But it doesn't feel like that to me. It's okay now. It's all right. It's been a long time. It was the start of May we did the head shave, so it's been a long time. But yes, it's sort of. I think I'm over the worst of it now. It's okay, but I just want my fringe back. That's all I really want. Connor says, how are you? I'm very well, Connor. Very, very good. I'm actually taking a cruise next week. A cruise that has been a long time in the planning. I think. I don't know, close to 18 months planning this cruise. The ship has changed, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. It is the exact opposite of my last cruise. My last cruise was a cycling cruise. I did 150 kilometers of cycling across Germany in a heat wave. And this next cruise, I'm doing 0 kilometers of cycling. I'm doing 0 kilometers of anything, to be quite honest. I'm not planning on really doing anything. Just chilling out. That's what I want from this next cruise. Do you remember the cruise ship that lost power a few days and had to be towed? No, things like this happen all the time. There's so many cruise ships sailing at any point. No, I don't remember. Tim says Spirit reminded us of an old cargo ship. Yes. Steve says, have you any tips on how to find out if a cruise is shortly to depart and sailing with reduced passenger numbers? There's no way to know ahead of time what the passenger numbers are going to be on a cruise. There was a little bit, when the pandemic started, the cruise lines would say we're maximum 30-50%, but now almost all the cruise ships are back to 100% and they don't give out that information. So there's no real way to know. My mum's in the chat. Hello to my mum, and she says, tell us about your YouTube outing. Very gladly, yes. I had so many questions about this. So I got to go to the Google offices in London. Very, very fancy. When you get to a certain point on YouTube, you get kind of assigned, they call it a YouTube manager, and they're a person who, if you have technical problems, if stuff goes wrong, you have somebody at Google owns YouTube, so at YouTube, who will help you with stuff. And if you need, training on, before I did my head shave live stream, like they helped me out with the technical stuff with that. They're not a manager in the sense of like they're telling you what to do. They manage tons of people, but it's a person at YouTube. And I was invited to go just for lunch, just to meet, no specific reason other than it was just a nice thing to do. And it was very, very cool. Very, very exciting. Yeah, very, very cool. What is your favorite port? It's so hard to answer a question like this. There's not one port that springs to mind, because if you say which port has the best this, I can give you all kinds of options. There's so many ports I like. Probably my least favorite is easier because there's so many I like, so few I don't like. My least favorite one that I tend to say is the port of Le Havre. It's not really... It's the port of Paris, but it's nowhere near Paris. I can get to Paris from London cheaper than going from the port, but we are going to Le Havre on my next cruise. Been there many, many times. It's in France, but I don't know if I'll get off in Le Havre. Got to be honest. Peter says, someone said there are 6,000 or 7,000 passenger ships in the making. Do you know for what company? I don't know off the top of my head what the capacity is of Wonder of the Seas, but I think it's more than this, right? Isn't it? Wonder of the Seas, Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean are the cruise line that they always do the bigger ships. I mean, Norwegian are quite close up there. MSC are quite close. I'm sure I've done ships with 6,500. So yeah, I'm pretty sure 8,000 is some of the higher ones now. Max says, love how you say everybody. I don't know how else you can say that, to be honest. Yeah, Lou says Wonder is 6,800. Okay, 6,800 then. That's fair. Yes. Where has Emma gone? I don't think anywhere. I think everyone else can still see me. Ian says, I've liked this video, has everybody else. Yeah, if you can like this, that would be really cool. Oh, James has got a 16-day cruise. I think the longest cruise I've ever done is 14 days. So, I mean, I imagine once you've been on a cruise for 14 days, the next two, there's probably not going to be any surprises in there. But if I'm doing a long cruise, I'm always packing things like travel wash. You always run out of things like socks on a cruise that long. So that's what I would suggest. Very practical of me there. Thank you, Fred, for my super sticker. I really appreciate that one. Thomas says, looking forward to your upcoming posts on your cruise. I am looking forward to it. I am. I've cruised with Princess quite a few times, 3 times, I think, including my all-time favorite cruise. So I kind of know what to expect from a Princess cruise. I am interested in looking at how the internet works. I know Paul and Carol and everybody in the chat, it's not as good as it was last year, I don't think. But we will see, because I've got quite a lot of work I need to do on this cruise. It's a 12-night cruise. That's a long cruise for me. I still have Zoom calls I've got to do. I've still got to get things out on certain dates. So I'm going to be trying to work quite a lot on this cruise. It is a British Isles cruise, though, so I can use my phone whenever we're in port. I will let you know. I think that may be the kind of, I don't know what you guys want to know about this British Isles cruise. Do you want me to focus kind of a video on the places we went to, the princessness, the ship? It's an older ship, which is, I think, quite interesting. Everyone's on the newest ships, aren't they? So we're doing an older, smaller one. Or for me, it's about, can I work with this internet on this cruise? And also I have upgraded the kind of £30 a day thing. So you get drinks, you get your gratuities in there, and we will see if that was worth it. I think that's an interesting one to find out. Lou's got a 19 and 20-day cruise coming up. Amazing. Russell says, hi, Emma. You suffer with travel sickness. I do. Does it take you a long time to recover after a trip? Not at all. Not at all. I mean, if say I've had a really seasick day and then the next day we're back at port, by the time I've had that sleep and I wake up, then I'm fine again. So for me, I kind of just sleep a lot. It's like a reset. Thank you, Gregory, for my cookie fund. Thank you so much. Princess Cruises. I always said, from the beginning, Princess Cruises had the best cookies. I have to say, I think Celebrity have overtaken them in my adventures since. But we will see. We will see with Princess. Looking forward to it. Anna says a comparison between the old and new ships would be good, and UK port experiences would be really interesting. Yes, I'm sure I'll put everything together. I normally do. But I have a video comparing Ventura, the kind of older P&O ship, to the newer one, Iona. That video didn't do very well, really. I know it's not all about the views, but compared to everything else, I got the vibe that wasn't really a good topic. Hello to Griff and Alyssa. Congratulations, you guys. They have promised me they're expecting a baby and they're going to call it Griffissa or some combination of their names. Please don't do that. My goodness. But yes, congratulations, you guys. Nice to see you. Do people recognize you on cruises, not counting your friends and family? Yes, they do, but it depends on the cruise a lot. I took a cruise recently on Anthem of the Seas, American cruise line, and on that ship, there were Americans on board, people from Canada, people from Australia, people from New Zealand, people from all over the world. And when that happens, I get recognized a lot. I could not go from my cabin to the buffet without seeing somebody who I knew. I could not go from one end of the ship, from the pizza to the theater, I would see somebody I knew everywhere, which was really nice to see those, oh, look, it's that person over there. There's that smiley face I recognize, which was cool. But on a cruise like that, when it's an American cruise line, most of my audience here are American. So I see more people. If I'm doing, a really random, I took a Swedish ferry, then I don't necessarily expect to see many people. There was one person on there who recognized me, which was odd. But then again, people have recognized me in the strangest places. When COVID when the vaccines first came out, I had time. So I did volunteering at the vaccine center. I did about, I don't know, 6 months there. Someone recognized me even with my mask on. They were like, I recognize your voice. That was strange. That was really odd. Normally, if it's on a cruise, I can understand. When I'm outside of that, it's strange. Robin says Emerald Wi-Fi was good. Sky was terrible. Newer ships worse. Yeah, this is something I'm thinking about because I mean I did Sky Princess last summer and it was fine, but the capacity was I don't know half, maybe less. So maybe it may be that. Yeah. Martin says, "Where is Hudson? Has he gone to Spoons at Brighton Marina?" He has not. He is not. He is around. I put little Hudson in his bed here because I think Hudson's wandered off, but he is doing good. He is doing good. Steve says, what do you think of a cruise to the Canary Islands in January? So I did this over Christmas. Last Christmas, I cruised to the Canary Islands, and it was the roughest weather I've ever had on a cruise, the most seasick days. We couldn't get into port because the weather was so rough. And I love the Canary Islands, and I love cruising at that time of year, but I wouldn't cruise again down to the Canary Islands, through the Bay of Biscay. We had 4 sea days at the beginning, too many sea days for me. I would fly to the Canary Islands. That would be my recommendation. Dylan says, already been on Morella Discovery and loved it, but heard good and bad things about Morella Explorer, so unsure whether to try her out at all or just go on Discovery again. I would always go with trying a different one. Always. Every single time. I can't really pick between Discovery and Explorer. I think they're pretty similar. I mean, Discovery came from Royal Caribbean, Explorer came from Celebrity, and there's certain things that you can see and you're like, that's very Celebrity, that's very Royal Caribbean. But I think they're the same. So I would definitely try a different one. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your questions. There's so many in here. If I don't answer them, I haven't had the time to read them and then ignore them. I'm just trying to get through as many as I can. I have seen that Morella have announced electric sunsets for 2023. They have not announced for 2023. They have announced for 2024. We were hoping for 2023, but I think kind of it's an every other year. And absolutely, if I'm not already doing something else when they announce it, I will go on that cruise again because it was so much fun. Yes, I imagine a group of us will probably be there again because it was just fun. Steve says you must cruise from Tilbury. I have cruised from Tilbury actually. I did my Disney cruise from Tilbury. Of all places, I did a Disney Seacation from Tilbury. Yeah, Princess Plus Fair. That's the one I did. Yes, Princess Plus. Yeah. Yes, we've got cruise boys in here. They've just come back from their celebrity cruise. Looks absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I haven't done any of those new celebrity ships. I've done older ships, but I've never gone beyond Silhouette's probably the newest one I've ever been on. So everything I know is coming from the cruise boys and Paul and Carol, of course. Matt said, just upgraded my Patreon membership to balcony level. Support Emma. Thank you so much, Matt. So we have our Zoom call that we do for the balcony tier people when I'm on this cruise. So that's going to be one thing I'm going to try and do with the Wi-Fi. I'm going to try and organize this Zoom on there. We normally do the Zoom call last Sunday of the month. Fingers crossed, I will let you know. Lou has got a new profile picture. Yes, he does. Nothing can get past us, Lou. If you come to these streams every single time. Yeah, Paul and Carol say, hope the 2024 dates work out as it was so much fun. Yes. Have you considered a Hurtigruten cruise? Absolutely, yes. They're kind of just out of my budget, though. It's not something I can just book and decide to do, to be honest. I have spoken to them before, but yeah, it just hasn't worked out. I would like to try it. It's something very, very different. For those of you who don't know, Hurtigruten are kind of how would you describe Hurtigruten? They're kind of an expedition cruise line. They have some post ships that go up and down Norway, and it's a very different kind of cruising experience. I get the impression it's more about the places you go to and being immersed in that. They don't seem to have cruise entertainment. It's not the point of a Hurtigruten cruise. Are you going to meet up with EECC Travel? I haven't got any plans to, but I have seen they're here, and I have been talking to them. It made me laugh that, we've had this amazing heat wave for the last couple of weeks. They arrived, they were in London, pouring with rain. So, yeah, mail ships that pretend to be cruise ships. Exactly like that. Robin says, are you going on NCL Prima? I don't have any plans to at the minute. There's just so many things I want to do, so many places I want to go to. I'm very, very busy, very, very busy, and Prima's not on it at the minute. What would you say is the best cruise you've been on? Oh, Hudson's just arrived, for those of you asking where Hudson is. He might come up here, I don't know. Best cruise, Singapore to Tokyo. Princess cruise, Golden Princess, hands down. Does ginger help with seasickness? Apparently it does, yes. Sometimes I've tried kind of ginger chewing gum, things like that. Ginger biscuits, though. If you have an excuse to eat ginger biscuits, that is always good. I don't know if Hudson's going to come and join us. We've got some of his toys here. There we go. He's oh, that one makes a noise. Forgot about that. But Hudson's here. There he is. And he's off. That's what you get from Hudson. Yeah. Would really like to take the cruise to Antarctica, but it is so expensive. It is Antarctica. You know, sometimes I look at them and I'm like, that is expensive. But if any destination can justify that price, it is literally Antarctica. So, yes. What are some of your favorite things to do in the Norway ports? I'll do my best to remember. But if you check out, I mean, I have a very recent video about Norway. It's my Royal Caribbean video. That goes through everything that we did in every port. That was just back in May. And I have different, on my website, I have the different ports and the kind of main things to do there. We did the... We didn't actually get the little cable car thing. We walked up Mount Floen, which was very, very good. Every place in Norway, I think you can do those things by yourself. You know, the cruise line will try and tell you have to do this thing to get to the top of the mountain, or they'll sell you, where were we? Granger. They were selling a walk to a waterfall. We just walked to the waterfall. Everyone else did, you know. So things like that. Don't use the cruise line's website to get ideas, but Norway's really easy to get around. A lot of the places you go to, if you go to Granger, if you go to Olden or Stavanger, we had Constitution Day, which was very cool, just a coincidence. But if you're going to somewhere like that, it's very set up for tourism. I mean, Granger, the population's about something very low, a few hundred. So most of the people there are from the cruise ship. So all the buses are set up for cruise passengers. It's very, very easy. I think if I had to pick just one destination to cruise to forever, it's Norway. Easy. In COVID quarantine, your videos have been keeping me entertained. Thank you. You're very welcome. They kept me entertained too. That was kind of a good thing for me, because otherwise, you know, it kind of helped me to split up my week, and to do these live streams on the Friday gave me something to make, you know. Otherwise, it would just be work, be at home, work, be at home, work, be at home. Was Regal the original ship? No, I was supposed to be on Sky, actually. I was supposed to be on Sky. And then I did get to go on Sky last year, but we did a British Isles that had 4 ports, maybe. They did kind of cut down versions. So I had this great idea. When cruising restarts, it'll be British Isles cruises. I want to do a Princess one, book this cruise. They cancelled it to replace it with basically the same itinerary. But now it is here. It is finally here. James Jello, hello from the local van. Thank you very much for my super chat. Yasmin says, can Brits UK departure ever get green lane status on the Medallion class app? I'm on green, so yes. I'm on green. Yes, I'm on green right now. I don't know what else to say about that. That is definitely possible. Have you ever considered traveling on a steam paddle ship? I have not. I would like to. That would be very, very cool. Very interesting for a story, but it's not something I've actively looked into. Ooh, planning a cruise with our boys 2 and 3, looking at MSC with it being cheaper. Heard lots of good things about Royal Caribbean for children. Royal Caribbean are great for children. Absolutely. Agree. But MSC also great for children. And if I was going to pick, you know, I might go towards the MSC cruise. They're both very, very good. And when you do look at the price difference, you know, if I was a kid, if I was 2 and 3, the things that are on the Royal Caribbean ships, like the skydive simulator, like the flow rider, that's not going to make any difference, to be honest. Yeah, Cruise Boys, they have a son. He's not 2 or 3. He's older than that, but they absolutely... Oh, my computer's trying to... No. He's older than that, but he loves MSC cruises. I think, yes. Best adult cruise line with no children from one to the other. Virgin Voyages are adult only. Marella, sometimes some of their ships are adult only. Viking, of course, if you can afford Viking. I like that this has all got the capitals wrong because Cruise Boys are so excited to type this. They're like, Josh says MSC is the best for kids clubs. Yes, I did a live stream a little while ago with the Cruise Boys. We had Josh, he came into the live stream and talked about the kids clubs. So, yes. Like says John. That would be cool. Thank you very much. Oh, didn't mean to put that one up there from Billy, but it's okay. Brian says, is your Carnival cruise getting close? It is getting closer. Yes, it is always getting closer. What are your thoughts on Disney Cruise Line? The Wish looks beautiful. So I've taken one Disney cruise. It was a Seacation cruise on Disney Magic. We didn't go anywhere. It was raining, and it was not my favorite cruise. I have seen The Wish, and it looks a million steps up from this other ship. So I think it would be very different, if we took a cruise to their private island, something like that. But you have to like Disney. You have to really like Disney, and you have to like children. It sounds obvious, but you're paying for Disney. It just depends to you how much Disney is worth. It's not that the food isn't better than other cruise lines, the ship isn't better than other cruise lines. The entertainment is good. The entertainment is really good, but it's not better than other cruise lines. It just depends. If you think Disney is worth double the price or 3 or 4 times the price, then it is. But if it's not, then it is not. I have a question about shore excursions. Okay, go ahead. Awesome. Booked a excursion. An afternoon excursion. Can we get off in the morning and do other things? Yeah, you're completely free. So they'll just give you a time, meet in this lounge at 1 p.m., 2 p.m. Before that, you can get off anytime you like. Normally, if I'm doing an excursion, it'll probably be a half-day excursion. Rarely do full-day excursions. And it might be that, I'll do an excursion in the morning, and then in the afternoon, you might want to just wander off and see something. And you can do that. You're totally, totally free. Cruise Boys say, we'll also have a kids club tour for Princess and Celebrity soon. Sorry for shameless advertising. This is not shameless advertising because everything I know about MSC kids clubs comes from the Cruise Boys. I'm not going to pretend that I know about those things because I absolutely do not. I do not. Do you prefer smaller ships with fewer people but fewer facilities, or large ships with lots of facilities and lots of people? I like both. I do appreciate the big ships with all of the exciting stuff. I have to say, personally, I'm not going to spend that long, if there's a go-kart track, even if I go on it, it's like 2 minutes out of my cruise. I wouldn't book a cruise specifically because it has go-karts on it, if that makes sense. To me, it matters more that there's space, to sit on the promenade deck, there's space to sit on the top deck. So in that way, sometimes I prefer the smaller ships. There tends to be more space per person, which I know doesn't make sense. But I will cruise on any cruise ship. I like them all. They're good for different things. It depends who I'm cruising with. If I'm cruising with some of my friends, I want to impress them. Maybe I'd take them on, Symphony of the Seas. That'll blow their minds. But also if I'm cruising with someone who's older, who doesn't want to walk 18 decks, I'll choose a smaller cruise ship. It is nice being on a small ship. My last cruise, I was on a river ship. And you're always about 3 meters from your cabin. So if you need the toilet or anything, you just go back there. There's no need to, wander off. Stephen says, would you advise not to book a European river cruise this year due to the drought or river levels? No, I would not advise people not. Does that make sense? The cruise lines are the ones who know more about this, but they'll often reroute, or they have plans for these. They're quite used to it. I wouldn't want to tell people not to book one this year due to the drought, because next year there's probably going to be a drought, and the next year there's probably going to be a drought. Thank you, Matt, who says, give Emma a chance to answer your questions. Hold off repeating them. Yeah, I haven't seen any questions from that one, so yeah. Britishism of the week is spoons. There you go, spoons. Wetherspoons. I go to Wetherspoons very, very often. It is a chain of pubs here in the UK. Very, very cheap pubs. And we shorten Wetherspoons to spoons quite a lot. But yeah, that's the Britishism. What do you think about the new class of Royal Caribbean ships that are coming out, like Icon of the Seas? Very exciting. Very iconic. I know they always name their ships things like that, but that's what it is. They're always kind of pushing further and further, bigger, more exciting. And they know what they do. They know what they're doing, and they do it very, very well, Royal Caribbean. Other cruise lines do other things better, of course. I'm not saying they're the perfect cruise line. Absolutely not. But they know what they do. They do it over and over again. And it's quite, they've honed it now. They've been doing this for a long, long time. Have you ever done 2 or more organized excursions in a day? I don't think so. No, I think I would just do a full day if I wanted to do the whole day. I don't. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I've done kind of like on a maybe. I think some of the river cruises I've done would have like an included walking tour, and then you could do another excursion, a proper one, maybe like that, but never two completely separate ones. I think I would be exhausted. I think I would be. Peter says, if money wasn't an issue, would you go on a 2 or 3 month world cruise, or is it not for you? It depends. If you said to me, if you came to me and you said, Emma, would you like to go on this 2 or 3 month cruise? Yes, absolutely, of course. If you came to me and you said, here, Emma, here's £30,000, go away for 2 or 3 months, I'm going to organize something different. Because to me, it's so exciting when you first get on a cruise ship and you get to work out how everything works. You get to first step into that atrium. That is what I love so much. So why would I not maximize that? And every kind of, I don't know, 10 days, maybe 2 weeks, change ship. Organize my own trip. I'd start off with a Cunard cruise when I'm feeling fancy at the beginning and I'm happy to wear, formal clothes. End on a Norwegian cruise, super casual at the end, just sail back. That would be amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Yeah, Lou says, used to do 2 tours a day and it is exhausting. Yeah, I can't really think of when I would do that instead of do a full day tour. It just seems more stressful. Going on a princess cruise for the first time. What are your top 3 tips for princess? Ooh, interesting. Top 3 tips for princess. I don't know. Princess are quite easy. There's not really many things you need to do. You don't normally need to book the theatre shows. You don't need to pre-plan things too much on Princess. I just like Princess because they're quite middle ground. The food is consistently good. The entertainment is consistently good. Like, it's quite middly. It's not anything amazing. It's not anything terrible. The ships are quite nice. You're going to have to pack swimwear, number one, absolutely, because their ships are all about swimming. They have like 5 or 6 different swimming pools on board. Love that. Amazing. Normally, my second tip would be about using the Medallion app, but it doesn't seem... I don't know if I want to recommend that at the moment for my second point. I had an amazing mini suite once on a Princess cruise with a bath. That was the dream. If you have the budget, get a bath. Yeah, Cruz would say a lot of the time the tours overlap. They do. Yes, they do. Do Norwegian have formal nights, or is it all casual? It is all casual the entire time. They've always been, since whenever they started. Casual, no formal nights, nothing. They were kind of the first line to do that, and other cruise lines have copied it and kind of copied their freestyle. I will say, though, my first cruise was with Norwegian. That's what I grew up with. So I compare everything to Norwegian. And then when I take a cruise like with Royal Caribbean and I try and do freestyle dining, I expect that to be like Norwegian. And it was a big disappointment on Royal Caribbean, to be honest. The way freestyle dining didn't work. So yeah, completely flexible on Norwegian. No dress codes. You got to wear shoes and like a t-shirt. You got to be dressed. But that's pretty much it for a Norwegian cruise. Jenny says, why have some cruises stopped sail away parties? There weren't parties on Anthem or Iona, which was disappointing. I don't know. Is it maybe to do with the location as well, rather than just the cruise lines? I know in some places, like, when we were in Norway, they were saying that they couldn't play any music out loud. But I think I've been to sail away parties recently. We had one on the MSC cruise I took, and it was 23% capacity, so there's barely any of us on the ship. But the good thing was they still put on all of these events. Even if, they would put on dance classes and there would be 1 or 2 people there, and they would still do it, which was good. Rank Celebrity, Royal Caribbean, and Disney, first, second, and third, if the price was the same. Oh my goodness. It depends on who I'm bringing with me, to be quite honest, and what I want. It's not that easy, I don't think. If we say, right, let's just say they're all in the same exact place, it's just me. Just me. I'll pick Royal Caribbean first, I think. I'll pick Celebrity second. Well, Celebrity's food is so good, that may push it above Royal Caribbean. I don't know. But for me, personally, Disney would be third because, I like Disney, but I wouldn't... Yeah, not one of those Disney people, particularly. Pepsi and cookies. Pepsi and cookies, indeed. Absolutely. What is the best cruise for someone traveling alone? Don't know anyone who I could go with. Cruising alone is actually, it's a massive booming market now, and cruise lines are really kind of focusing on it. And when they're predicting things for the future, they're thinking more and more solo cruises. I have a guide to my top cruise lines on my website, just because past me knew more about this than I do right now. But if you're looking for solo cabins, the best ones are on Norwegian ships. For sure. MSC, they have some solo cabins. P&O do. Almost all the cruise lines have some sort of solo cabins, but Norwegian are just better because they have a kind of solo lounge. So everybody who's in there is solo. Whichever cruise line you go with, make sure you kind of go to those meetups at the beginning. If you go to things like game shows and you go to trivia, you'll talk to people anyway. Even if you're not particularly trying to. People on cruise ships are normally quite nice. Which MSC ships have you been on? I've been on Virtuosa, Meraviglia, technically Bellissima, Preziosa, Opera. Quite a lot of MSCs. How long have you been going on cruises? So I've been going on cruises since I was 11. I was 11 on my first cruise, and I talk a bit more about that in my next video, which is it's available for Patreons now. It'll be out for everybody else on Monday, and it's got Luno since I was 11. It's got a couple of pictures of me there when I was 11. But yes, I took my first cruise in Alaska when I was 11, started really high with an amazing Norwegian cruise, and I haven't been back to Alaska since, but I'm hoping soon. Yeah, Billy says, don't like that if you're single, you normally have to pay double. It is a tricky thing, and cruise lines, I think they're really kind of moving in the right direction. If you look at ships that were built in the 90s, they never thought about solos. Now they are, at least. But yes, it does kind of make sense in a way. If you think about the cabin, I understand people saying, oh, I'm just one person, I don't want to pay for two. But you're not just taking away that person's cruise fare. That person would be spending money in the casino, they would be drinking, they would be doing excursions. So they don't want to waste that space, which I understand it does make sense, but it is annoying, for sure. It is annoying. River cruises versus sea cruises. Which one do you like? I like both. Absolutely, I like both. They're very different, though. I was really surprised when I took my first river cruise. There's not really an overlap between river and ocean cruises. I thought that there would be, but not really. Most of the people who I spoke to on the river cruises said, oh, I couldn't think of anything worse than going on those big ocean ships. That's kind of the vibe I got. Some people cross over, but yeah, very, very different. They're just both on the water. That's really the only thing that's the same. Do you prefer cruising alone or with company? I don't cruise alone anymore, so with company. With company. Oh, agree. Best solo cabins are NCL, but they're all insides. Yes. I did see on some of the P&O ships they have solo balconies, which were really cute. And they have 2 seats on the balcony, which I thought was nice, so you can still invite someone back. Yeah, definitely worth a look. You have to be quite... I think if you want a good solo deal, you have to plan quite far in advance because they have this fixed number of solo cabins. And if you can be somebody that books 2 or 3 years in advance, you can get a price that's, sometimes it's better than a regular sharing person. So keep your eyes peeled. That's my advice. What did you think of MSC Virtuosa? I liked MSC Virtuosa. Yes, I did. I'd already been on Meraviglia a couple of times, and Virtuosa's just the same but slightly bigger, so it felt all kind of very familiar. But yes, I have videos about that on my channel. I was on the first sailing out of the UK after the pandemic, so that was very, very exciting. I don't know what the percentage of like journalists and press versus regular passengers were, but almost all of us were writing for someone, filming something for someone because first cruise, it was very, very exciting. On a Mediterranean cruise, I've heard not many passengers speak English. Will it be hard to meet people because of the language barrier? It depends on the cruise line that you pick. If you pick a cruise line like Marella and you go there, everyone will be British. If you pick a cruise line like Royal Caribbean or Norwegian, probably everyone will be American, British, from Canada, New Zealand, Australia. The only really mainstream cruise lines that you're probably thinking of would be MSC and Costa, where people would speak other languages. The American cruise lines, the overall language is always English. The British cruise lines, it's always English. So no, I don't think so. Even if you take a cruise on a cruise line like Costa or like MSC, I've kind of found that if you're on a cruise where not everybody speaks English, anybody who is English, you become instant friends with them, which is cool. Hey Emma, how did you come up with the logo? Also, this is my cat Hudson, and we call him Captain Hudson in here. And everybody knows about Captain Hudson, and it really makes me laugh. People ask where he is, but he's right here. So he's in my logo because he's a big part of this. And I didn't want just before I just had something cruise shippy, but I wanted something more me in it. So that's what it is. It is my best effort at a logo. Our cruise line's running at full capacity. Drew on Celebrity Silhouette and Virtuosa next month. Yes, they are back to full capacity. When we say full capacity, they're back to being able to have full capacity. Most cruise ships are probably 90% full, something like that. Yeah, Billy says, completely agree, it just stinks. Totally understand. Yes, totally understand. I would, yeah, especially me being a very budget cruiser. Oh, agreed. Oh, cruise boys say they found a trick to solo cruising. Technically not solo. If you book an adult and a child, it's cheaper than a solo. Interesting, cruise boys. Interesting. John says, please like, as only half of those viewing have. Yes. When are you going to be on American television? No. With your own reality show. We love our Brits on TV here. No, I don't want to be on TV. And I think a lot of people who think, oh, well, you're on YouTube, so the goal is TV. When are you going to be on TV? Why would I want to be on TV when, I can get the same reach, if not more, on YouTube, and I can edit it myself? That's the thing about TV. You say things, they mash it together. In the trailer, it sounds like you're saying something terrible. Why would I want to do that? I don't want to hand over control of what I do. I want to be able to say what I say. I edit all my videos. I write all my scripts. I take all my footage. I'm keeping that. Absolutely. Yeah, if you're paying double, better to invite a friend. Literally. Yes, David says Paul and Carol have very entertaining YouTube videos of their river cruise worth viewing. Yes, so they did a very similar river cruise to us with TUI, and we've watched all their videos at home. If I go to my parents' house, they'll put Paul and Carol on the TV. So sometimes I'm walking around the house and I'm like, I hear Paul right then. But yes, brilliant videos there. Yeah, so sometimes solo cabins can cost more. Absolutely. Have you cruised on Costa Concordia? I didn't. I've only cruised on Costa Luminosa at the minute. Not on Concordia. They're quite similar though. When you look at them, you're like, recognize small things like you can recognize the lamps and things. They're the same as they are on some of the Carnival ships. This doesn't help. Question. Where's the question? Oh, there it is. Oh, that's hard because there's different. If you can put your question in the same comment as the question, because there's different comments between, so that's really confusing. Will you go on another Virgin cruise? Maybe, yes. I would like to do a Virgin cruise, but a proper one. I did one last year. Seacation again, didn't go anywhere, didn't get off. Be good to go to their private island. I think that'd be very interesting. Can you request a kettle in your room on any non-UK cruise? You can always request a kettle, yes. Whether you will get one or not, it depends on the cruise line, I think. Certain cruise lines, I did my Royal Caribbean cruise. We all had kettles in the cabin, which normally you wouldn't on a Royal Caribbean cruise. Same with MSC. Sometimes they'll put kettles in the cabin, sometimes they won't. It depends if they have them. They may take them all off and then put them all back on. If they're there, though, I don't see why not. Do you think it's a pro or a con that all the princess ships are so similar in their layout? It depends who you speak to. I could speak to 100 people. 50 would say that it's a pro, 50 would say that it's a con. I think it is quite nice to it feels quite, I would say homely, and homely means something different in the UK and the US. Homely is a compliment here. It means it feels like home. So princess ships to me feel quite homely as soon as you get on board because you already kind of recognize the spaces. But then once you've done them, you're not going to kind of walk into the ship. When I've never been on Emerald, which I'm going on next week, I pretty much have. I've been in enough of the ships that I know all of the spaces. You know what I mean? So I think it's different from me. Obviously, I'm creating stuff for this channel. But as a regular cruiser, it's kind of nice to know, I think. I've never tried a ferry in Japan. I took a cruise to Tokyo with Princess. So that was cool. missed the start of this, guess we'll have to watch it later. That's okay. All of these are available for catch up right the way back to March of 2020. If you want to go back there, they're always there. They're always there. Yeah, on Costa the staff speaks English. Yes, they speak English as well as, you know, the crew on any other cruise ship. It doesn't really make a difference. Beyond was at full capacity. Yes. Would you ever do a cruise wedding, or would you recommend it? I would recommend it to people who want a wedding. I think it's a much easier way to get married than organizing a big wedding on land. So sure. What do you do with Hudson when you're cruising? He stays put and the humans rotate around him to look after him because he's the most important. YouTube is better than TV. Yeah. I mean, I watch a lot more YouTube per day than TV, for sure. I got so many comments here. My goodness. Thank you so much. Do you have any videos on clothing? No, because it's so subjective. Yeah. There's nothing I can really teach about that. Are you going on Morella Voyager when she comes out later in the year? Again, no plans. I don't really have any space in my schedule, but I would like to. Love the haircut. Thank you so much. It's something at the minute. It spikes up. It's got some height, but it's okay. It's cool. Have you been invited to the bridge? Oh, I don't know. Hang on. Yes, I've been invited to a couple of bridges. They're pretty similar. I gotta be honest. But yes, I have fantastic views up from the bridge. Who cruises more, your mom, your dad, or you? Absolutely me. They wish they cruised as much as me. Oh, found Emerald a nicer design than Sky. Yes, I think Emerald is similar to... I took a cruise on Golden Princess. I've been on Royal Princess and Sky Princess. And I think Emerald is similar to Golden, that kind of older style. And I love that ship. That was great. Would you design a cruise ship if you could? No, I think it's very, very difficult. Way more difficult, I think, than any of us could imagine. Joe says, my wife and I are on Emerald next week. Can we buy you and your parents a pint? You can absolutely sit with me and I'll have a pint, but I have the drinks package. But yes, please, if you see me, say hi, wave at me, jump up and down. I'm often kind of in my own world doing things. So just make sure I know. Are you going to keep it short? I'm going to keep my hair shorter than it was, but not this short. This is too short. Matt says, just learned about the hidden rubber ducks on ships. This is a whole thing. You know, I've never taken part in this rubber duck hiding thing, but there's massive Facebook groups. My dad says, Joe, please meet for a drink. We have the drinks package. Yes. A massive community of duck hiders. Is that what we should call them? People who take rubber ducks on cruise ships, hide them around, then people find them, then they hide them again. I don't really know. I haven't taken part in it. I don't think I've ever found one, but if I did find one before I knew this was a thing, I would have just thought, oh, it's a duck. Put it back. What is your favorite cruise ship of all time? I don't think I have one favorite cruise ship of all time, to be honest. There's quite a few. I mean, you can say any cruise ship and I'll tell you things I like about it. I've never found a cruise ship that has everything that I like. Yeah, Chloe says, notice you pronounce speciality instead of specialty. Yeah, people comment on this a lot. I think that they're both valid, speciality and specialty. People message me this all the time, you know, in Instagram DMs and things. People tell me I'm saying it wrong. I don't think I'm saying it wrong. I think I'm just saying it differently. To me, specialty and speciality, yeah, I think they're different. Greg says, what is the kettle for? The kettle is obviously for your morning cup of tea. Of course it is. Oh, found a duck set up high in an elevator. Maybe I'm not looking in the right places then. Where did you get your map? It should be in the link, the description of all my videos. It might not be in this one, but go back to any of the other ones and you will find it. You will find it. It's from a company in Ukraine. Yeah. Never found a duck, never searched. Yes, same. There's a few other things like this, like speciality and specialty. I think sometimes those people should hear the difference between laboratory. I don't know how else to say that one. US and UK. Going on the Disney Dream in 34 days. I think the entire ship will be full of ducks. That is crazy. That is crazy. What is the best cruise you've done and what would you recommend? It depends who comes to me and what they want as to what I recommend. There are literally, I don't know how many possible answers to this question, and every single answer would be wrong for so many different people. You know, if you're someone who's from the UK looking for your first cruise, I normally suggest a nice week-long Mediterranean cruise. If you're okay with cold weather, Norway's fantastic. If you want to go over to the Caribbean's the most popular cruise destination in the world. If you're American, normally a Caribbean cruise is your first cruise. Alaska, Hawaii. Over here, we've got transatlantic cruises, Canary Island cruises. You can go to Asia, you can go to Australia. There's just so many, so many. Do you think it's exaggerated that the MSC food is really bad? I actually have a Instagram reel, TikTok short edited on my phone about this because it goes through my journey with MSC's food. So I took my first MSC cruise on the MSC Opera and the food was not good then. It was questionably, it was all right, but there's nothing interesting about it. The portions were kind of small, it was kind of cold, and that seemed to be a vibe with MSC. Then we took 2 cruises on the Meraviglia. Each one, it got better. And recently I took this cruise on the Seaview cruise that I took in the Caribbean. Any of that food could have been on any other cruise line. I think I preferred the food on our MSC cruise than my Royal Caribbean cruise. So I think it may be that it was bad. And I think MSC admit that. You know, I think they would say it used to be different. Yeah, but it seems to have got a lot better. Honestly, the food on Seaview, and being a vegetarian, I had so much more choice on MSC than on Royal Caribbean. So honestly, do not let the quality of the food on MSC put you off. If you're happy to cruise with Royal Caribbean or Norwegian or Princess, it's comparable now. Jim says, since you've been off a ship for, oh my goodness, 2 weeks, you'll need a takeaway. Thank you so much, Jim. You know, Jim, I actually do buy takeaways with this, and I do say thank you, Jim, for this. You take a med cruise where you start in Gibraltar and end in Malta, or reverse, and you get a few days before or after on the Rock and Island? If that itinerary exists, then yes, there's no reason why not. I don't know off the top of my head of any itineraries that are exactly that, but there's so many that are happening all the time. Possibly. Seen pics on one YouTuber's video on MSC that looked like bad mac and cheese. I think if you can order a mac and cheese on a cruise, though, it's mac and cheese. Gotta be honest. Is it possible to self-embark on a cruise if you're fine handling your luggage until your room is ready? Yes, normally. I normally have, my suitcases are only cabin size anyway, so they often assume that I want to carry it on. I don't. I want someone else to take it and I don't need it. But often they'll assume that I'm taking it. As long as it can fit through, you know, you have to go through security and it has to go through the scanner. But that's the only thing. That is fine. Do you have a lighted alarm clock that you recommend? Yes. If you go to, see, I'm so prepared for this because I really like this. If you go to emmacruises.com/lamp, and you will see my recommendations for the different daylight lamps I have. I've had a few of them. Some of them have been quite big and kind of heavy. So I've settled on one that I have now. And every time I cruise inside, that comes with me. I wouldn't do an inside cabin without it. Even though I pack very, very light, I prioritize the lamp. I hate waking up in the dark. It's just not fun. Chloe says, how do you feel about the Bachelorette using a whole cruise ship for just a handful of people for filming and traveling? I don't know what went on. I know Griff and Alyssa, they were in the comments earlier, they were on that cruise. I don't know anything about how it was filmed, anything like that. This was the Virgin ship. The Virgin were on the Bachelorette, and I think it's done quite well for them. Virgin are kind of trying to reach out beyond cruising and get in that new market, and I understand why they're doing that. But yeah, I don't know anything about how it was filmed or anything like that. Would you ever live on a cruise ship? Well, you know, maybe when I'm older, maybe. I always heard people say about how, you know, oh, it's cheaper to go on a cruise than it is to go into a care home when you're old. And I thought, oh, fair enough. I looked recently at the prices of care homes. It's so much cheaper to go on a cruise than go into care. So maybe if I get to that point in my life, I don't have any reason not to be, you know, nothing on land, I'll live on a cruise ship for a while. Yeah. Athena, leave you and Gary on as background while I'm at work. Oh, I've lost your comment, but thank you so much. I put a picture of Gary in my next video that's coming out on Monday. You will see. Me and Gary, I was going to disagree, but like we have different opinions on a lot of things. But between us, it makes like we cover everything, which I think is really good. And I think we quite like that we both do things differently. You know, in this video that I'm talking about the adjoining doors that sometimes you get between cabins. I couldn't care less. I quite like listening to other people's conversations through the door, and Gary would never book them. So, you know, we have very different opinions, but that's good, I think. That is good. Matt says, answer, no cruise lines permit that. I don't know what the question is. So, yeah, we will see. What is the trick to getting on board fastest, aside from booking a suite? Never seem to be able to get through the horrid lines and waiting and be on board before 3 or 4. It depends on the cruise line, and if you pick a cruise line like Princess, the faster you log in and enter all your information on the app, the earlier the time you can pick. So you can normally pick from 12 onwards. But some cruise lines they're just not boarding until 3 or 4. I like being on for lunch, ideally, but you can't always make that happen. Tips for Travelers has a video about that. Not as cool as it seems. I have seen it, but yeah, if we're talking about adjoining doors still, for me, the priority is the price. I always pick guaranteed cabins, and I've never regretted it. I'm on 45 cruises now, and I've had some interesting cabins. Some of the worst locations, some of the worst noise. Yeah, it's all good fun. Susan says, impressed with your content and professionalism. Thank you very much. You are very put together for a young woman. It is all trial and error. Trying my best. Will you cruise on Carnival? Yes, I have a Carnival cruise booked. It is coming up soon. And when I am there, I will tell you more about that one. What are the thoughts of river cruising? That is a bigger question than I can answer, I'm afraid. I'll leave that to the river cruise lines. They know a lot more than me. Royal Caribbean is very clingy. Interesting. I asked them a question and they are spamming me now. Ever met the guy who lives on cruise ships? No, his name's Mario. He lives on cruise ships. I've never met him, but he's got it sorted out. Yeah, good point. If you are looking for solos and you just want a kind of idea, vacations to go is always a good place to start. I like to sort by price per night, of course, and look at the cheapest ones. Bear in mind, though, that they don't include taxes and fees, and if you book through them from outside the US, you won't get the same kind of protections that you get here. So normally I'll go on vacations to go, sort by price per night, find out a cruise that's cheap, go to Emma, who I work with, and we'll book it. That's normally how it works for me. Do you prefer the North Star or the Magic Carpet? So the North Star is a viewing platform that's like this, is like this hand, and it goes up on top of Royal Caribbean cruise ships. And the Magic Carpet, it's like a platform that goes up and down the side of Celebrity cruise ships. I've never been on a Magic Carpet Celebrity ship. Basing it off of comments from the cruise boys and other people I know, it seems like that's great for tendering, makes tendering really easy, but it's also, you can have drinks there. I think a restaurant there as well. So I don't know if it's a bit, I don't know. It seems like it may be a bit of a gimmick, but I don't know. I haven't used it. But North Star was fun. I did it in a port day. It was free on port days. So that's my kind of price. And that was good. Is the Mediterranean cruise in February or March rainy and cold? Well, I've done a Mediterranean cruise in January, and it was, it depends where you're coming from. If you're coming from the UK and you go to the Mediterranean, it's going to be much nicer weather. The days are longer, the sky is blue, but it's probably kind of early to mid 20 Celsius-ish, which if you're coming from somewhere that's hot, that's not hot. But it's not cold for me, for sure. That's really nice. Yeah, Lou says Magic Carpet is great for tendering and a bar, but the restaurant is too expensive. That seems to be the vibe. Yes. Is the YouTube cruise rating market growing or shrinking? How hard is it to get started? I mean, the cruise market every single year is growing on and on and on, and YouTube is growing on and on and on every single year. So you've just got to get started. I mean, it is hard just to get started, but all you need is a phone or something with a camera. Sit down, record something. That's how I started. If you want to go back to 2017 on my channel, you'll see me sat there. I don't look like this. I look bored. I look like I'm going to cry. I don't know how to talk to a camera, but you have to do that. You have to start. They say your first 100 videos should be terrible. So you just got to get those out of the way. You just got to get those out of the way. But there's absolutely, I mean, there is so much space. The fact that there's interest in YouTube about cruising just shows how many people are interested in cruising. It's like 30 million people a year take a cruise. There is plenty of space for everybody to make content about it. Do you have any souvenirs you can show us from your cruises? I can't show you anything right now because I'm stuck in this sofa. I can't move. But I don't really buy souvenirs. What I do is I take all of my cruise cards and I stick them on the fridge. So my fridge looks like that at the minute. Do you have a PO box? I don't have a PO box, I'm afraid. I did think about it, but there's nothing I need, and I don't want people to, I don't know. I don't want people to spend money and time. I don't need anything. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for thinking of me. But at the moment, no. I could do if people want me to, but I don't know. Then I would feel so bad, people send me things. I don't have the time to I'd want to make a video thanking it would just be more for me to do, I think. So I appreciate it, but no, not right now. Not right now. How many cruises do you have booked at a given time? Depends when you ask me this, if you ask me now, I've got 5, I think, booked, which is a lot. If you ask me, any other time in my life, I normally only had 1 or 2 booked in advance. Well, yeah, it depends when you ask me. If it was before or after I started this channel. Now it's 5. But it's my business, I've got to keep it. Any advice for Baltic cruises? Are all of the ports worth a visit? My top advice: bring a coat, bring comfortable shoes, because everything is very cobbly. It's very up and down. Baltic cruises, I think, are best if you like walking tours, if you like history. I love all of that stuff. I love that stuff. But that's what it is kind of best for. You can get off and you can wander around and you can see everything. It's easy peasy, easy peasies. How many cruise cards do you have? I don't have cruise cards from all of my cruises because I cruised when I was a teenager. It wasn't a priority to keep them. I've lost a couple of them, but I have most of them. Sometimes you won't get a cruise card, if it's like Virgin Voyages give you the wristband. So I've got some of those, but I have most of them for sure. Nearly missed it, says Julie. Do not worry. All of these are available on catch up for forever. Yeah, I would buy postcards. I buy postcards to send to my Patreons, but I don't keep any myself. So some other people are keeping a record, like Lou, Kevin, maybe keeping a record of my cruises more than me. Which ship would you love to go on that you've not been on yet? Thank you, Cruise Lord, for all of your good questions today. I would love to do a big Royal Caribbean ship. I need to, don't I? I really, really need to. It has nearly been an hour. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I'm going to try and answer a couple of questions just before we finish here. But thank you so much for joining me. Okay, let's quickly pick some. Do you know of any cruise lines that are accepted the unvaccinated? Yes, plenty of them are. Loads of them are. Google unvaccinated cruise. You'll find loads and loads. I can't remember, but so many of them now. Would love a pic of your cruise carded fridge sometime. Maybe, yeah. I want to tidy it up a bit. It's a bit of a mess. I want to get a new fridge as well. So maybe when I get a new fridge. What is the best cruise line for Panama ships? You have to ask Gary that. Tips for travelers. He's the Panama Canal man. What are some things to take on a cruise that first-time cruisers don't think about? Travel adapters. Pack travel adapters. So many times I've cruised with first-time cruisers, they don't think about it, because why would you think about it? Most cruise ships, American or European sockets. If you're from the UK, you always need adapters. Some of the P&O ships do have UK plugs, but just keep adapters in your suitcase. Just cheap ones. Go to Poundland, get loads, keep them in your suitcase. Can you get a stamp in your passport for all ports of call? Sometimes they'll have like a little desk you can go to. I don't normally, but sometimes if you want to and you want to search them out, then yes. If you weren't cruising, what would you be doing instead? I mean, I went to university, I did a maths degree, I got a job in data development, I worked in insurance. So probably still that, probably the corporate 9 to 5 kind of office life. But I much prefer running my own business. Absolutely, I do. It has been an hour. Thank you so much, guys. I'm always surprised. I shouldn't be surprised. I've done plenty of these live streams. Should know how fast this hour goes. But I'm going to go and have my dinner now. And I am going to be on a cruise next week. So I'm going to try and do a live stream. It's not going to be at the normal time. I sail away on Thursday. So I'm going to try and do maybe a sail away live stream on Thursday. Yeah, I'll keep you up to date on it. If you want to know for sure when the live streams are going to be, if you go emmacruises.com/news, that's my kind of newsletter, and I'll send out a newsletter saying when it is. But I'm going to aim to do it Thursday. That's the plan. Hopefully sailing away. Hopefully it will be raining. We will see. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. Thank you for all of your nice comments and questions. I will see you soon. And if you have any princess questions or anything, please let me know and I'll do my best. Yes, I sail from Southampton. Easy peasy. Cannot wait to not have to fly. Ooh. Bye, guys.